Oh my gosh, yeah, wait, no one knows who I am. How can they love me? Hello, my name is Sarah Medley, and I am right now a fifth grade elementary school teacher. I do other stuff. Second to being a teacher, I love to be artsy. And most recently, I've really delved into lino cutting. So if you all listeners don't know what that is, you should check it out. Very cool. It uses sharp tools and lots of ink. You carve away at a block and create an amazing design, stamp it up, and create amazing prints. So even though it's not a big source of income, it's truly a lot of fun, and it's a good stress relief because it gets my eyes away from the screen, which is something that I feel we get a lot of nowadays. I'm so
Uh,
excited to be doing this, by the way. I know this is something that you've been talking about, and you did have this idea of doing this, and I remember hearing about it. And then when I saw you post with Emily, I was so excited. Well, first of all, I was excited because she's adorable.
she is.
And I already loved her. I was like, this is a joke of a title. Like, I already fell in love with her like years ago. It was so fun listening to them, and she seems to be doing well. So it was good. It was like a great way to catch up with someone that I knew, but it was also just so fun to hear about things I've never had a chance to ask her, you know?
Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest?
This is a tough choice because there are so many wonderful people in the world. But I do think that I would love to sit and chat with Neil Gaiman. He is someone that I need to explore more of his works, actually. But the Sandman comics that I've read, and I actually just finished up Good Omens over the summer. It was amazing. So I just would love to pick his brain, or even just like sit and stuff my face while he just talks. I don't even need to be a part of the conversation. He can just sit and even bounce ideas for like his next story off of me. But he's one of those unique minds in the world. He stands out. So for that, I think that would be a good choice as a dinner guest. I'm even wondering too, with someone like that, what would even be for dinner? We wouldn't be having chicken and veggies. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. Oh my goodness.
Would you like to be famous? In what way?
I don't think I would like to be famous, actually. But I know that we associate fame with being wealthy, and I could be down to be rich and like maybe be like a superstar at the local pet shelter because I paid for food for a year. That would be cool, just in like a small and a helpful way. I do hear a lot about how the celebrities struggle to manage their fame and how it gets in the way of their personal life. We both worked at Disneyland, and these poor people just want to come into the park and ride a few rides with their kids, and they just have people swarming them for photos and stuff. I think that fame is not something that I could handle because I really do value my privacy and my alone time, as outgoing as I can be. So I'm gonna say no, but like if I can get like the wealth of a rich person, that would be cool, like being able to get that fancy table at like the new 5-star restaurant like a celebrity would, but not having to sit there and like fend off the paparazzi as I'm trying to eat my steak and drink my wine.
What do you think you would be famous for?
I hope it would be something that kind of already takes what I'm doing now and kind of hybrids it. So I am a teacher and I really like to create art. So maybe if I started writing children's books and I became the next Dr. Seuss, I feel like that could be fun because I think instead of grace the red carpet, maybe I could just be swarmed by children when I went to go do read alouds at the school and they'd be like, "We love your books." Yes, I know. Thank you.
Before making a telephone call, do you rehearse what you're going to say? Why?
No, I never rehearse what I'm going to say. I feel like at most, maybe I'll have like a little post-it note with a couple bullet points. But going back even to my profession as a teacher, I have to be comfortable just going into things, having a good idea in my head of what's going on, being able to like improvise and get that information out to whoever without that rehearsing. If anything, when it comes to phone calls, if I know it's going to be one of those, I'll be on hold for a while before I talk to anybody and I'm going to be listening to some elevator music, I will find an activity to do before my phone call. So no to the notes, but yes to being prepared with a good book or a sketch pad and paper and pencil. Yeah, that's what I would do to prepare for a phone call.
I know sometimes people are overwhelmed with, I gotta call an official thing. I
Hmm.
get that way in particular at the doctors.
I totally get that actually. Kaiser especially, they don't even want to know your name first because I'm a Kaiser patient. They'll show up on the phone or they'll like finally like get to you in line and they'll be like, "Do you have your card?" And I'm like, "Hi, good morning. Yes, here it is." And it's just like boom. I understand because I feel in some of those calls it can be a little aggressive. So I understand why people feel the need to rehearse and feel like they have an upper hand on the conversation before it even begins. I'm not good at memorizing things. Even if I did sit down and rehearse, I wouldn't remember it by the time they answered the phone. It's pointless. So I just have to have those ideas ready to go.
Question 4, what would you constitute as a perfect day?
I know this is going to sound ridiculous right now, just because of our current situation, being in quarantine, staying home because of the pandemic. But I do feel like Sarah's perfect day at home would be just a weekend day where I get to sleep in and I don't have to go anywhere and I don't have to see anyone. And I'm just in charge of every moment of my day. Not to sound like a control freak. You know, during the week, you have to deal with traffic, hope that the cashier at the checkout line at the grocery store isn't grumpy, you know, and just avoiding all that possible negativity and just being in your little bubble, I feel like can be just so freeing. And I know that most people would agree that being home is the most comfortable place to be. And that's perfect for me because we know we don't always get perfect days, right? That's just like not possible in the real world. I guess knowing that it's a balance, knowing that there's going to be those days where I am seeing people and it's great, and when I am seeing people and it's terrible, that one day that if I had to be in charge, it would just be me. When you have a job like mine where there's constant interaction and constant talking and constantly things that can go wrong, you end up having overload of stories to tell. And by the time you get home, you don't want to talk at all, right? You just like, okay, I just want to sit for a moment. Having that break just for a day, just for one day, so nice. We all need a break. You know, even if your favorite soda is root beer, I don't know if you could have root beer all the time.
I want a root beer.
No, I'm sorry. I don't think I have any to give you. And even if I did, I don't know how I'd get it to you. Maybe like messenger pigeon.
Check under your seat.
It's
Oh,
a root beer. That'd be so cool. Oh my gosh.
no, I broke into your house. There's
You're welcome.
reason for concern.
You're welcome anytime, especially if it's to give me free soda. Because I'm going to give you such a big range, is you have like all these different times that you could break in. So I'm not going to know when my goodies arrive. And I might even get upset. I might be like, DJ, I was expecting my root beer. And you're like, no, it was delivered 3 days ago. Check in the cabinet to the left of the fridge. And I'm going to be like, dun, 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 it's there. I'm so sorry. I underestimated you. It would probably be easy. We almost always have a window open, just, you know, that cool like beach breeze every night. Even now when it's winter, it would just keep the windows open. So yeah, come on in.
Any
Yeah,
open
just
window.
any open window. It's most likely mine.
When did you last sing to yourself? And when was the last time you sang to someone else?
I sing all the time. Not well, mind you, but it could be the line from a song that's stuck in my head. If I don't know the words, I could just be humming it. But whoever is listening is more than welcome to listen. I hardly ever like sing on purpose to somebody, especially have been having fun lately. Kind of getting into some like 80s and like some funky jams, and those get stuck in your head so easily. Kind of in the same vein of things, my boyfriend Scott and I, we listened to ELO this last weekend. We got all the hits stuck in our head. And I was like singing before that to myself on my own. And then after that, we would just like stop in the kitchen and start, you gotta slow down, sweet talking woman. This didn't matter. Like we were just going to keep singing no matter what. That's so hard for me to answer that definitively, even if it's like a silly little jingle. I got my bagel, my bagel's ready. I just sing throughout the day. So I probably sang before we got on this call and I just didn't even realize it. Yeah, and I'm sorry if I am not a great singer, but the energy is right. That's the thing. And there's always a little bit of like body movement too. And I actually feel like lately I've been dancing more than I've been singing. Like, for example, Scott will make something delicious and I will have to do like a dance to it. And maybe there's no words to the enchilada dance. I just kind of wiggle a little bit and then that's it. That's the dance for the food. And there's hardly ever singing without dancing. The singing is always with the dancing.
You put on an entire show. You put on an entire performance every time.
minus the costume, unless what I'm wearing is suiting the actual show. The gray sweatpants I've been wearing for months. that's, that's the exception, I think. I like my sense of style. My rule of thumb is I don't advertise for people. I just don't. Like, never will you ever see me in like a Nike shirt or like a Levi's shirt. I just don't want to pay more money to advertise for a company. Maybe that's why you like my style, is because I'm not advertising in your face all the time.
If you are able to live to the age of 90 and retain the mind or the body of your 30-year-old self and it lasting for those last 60 years, which would you choose?
I had a hard time choosing this one. February is my birthday month. I'll be turning 29. I see 30 in the distance because I am close to my 30-year-old self. I feel like I can think about it in my mind of where I am now. Would I want to keep my mind or my body? Sadly, I've already noticed a little bit of a decline in my physical health, and it's crazy. It just happens like 25, 26, 27. You just start realizing that you're not young anymore. Just feeling it in ways that you never understood when old people would complain and be like, oh, my back. You're like, yeah, okay, we all have backs. But now I'm like, oh no, that's about to be me. And so definitely would want to be able to keep the body I have, because the mind is, it would just be such a fun thing to keep growing. And of course, the teacher in me is like, let's keep learning, let's keep developing and keep changing. And even if I become more forgetful, that's okay. I'll just be better at notes. And maybe I will start writing notes before my phone calls eventually. If we do this again in 60 years, I'll probably change that answer. I don't want this popping shoulder that I like hear to like keep getting worse. And I don't want my knees to get more tired. So I want to keep my body.
If I was physically fit, I could still help out around the place. You need help moving. Oh, get great grandpappy to come in here and throw
Yeah.
them muscles around.
You may have to remind me which box to grab and take to the moving truck 5 times, but I'm going to do it easily.
Do you have a hunch about how you will die?
No. And I think that is such a blessing. I feel like that little bit of ignorance about that end to my life keeps you in bliss. I wanted to bring up how I do feel like I know how I died in a past life. I know that's like not the question, but I have never felt comfortable around large bodies of water. And maybe it's just because I'm a land mammal and my natural instincts are like, hey, yeah, don't go over there. You don't have fins or gills. Like, I'll swim and I've been on boats and I would go on a cruise. It's not like a terrible fear. But there are moments when I've been in the water, I just all of a sudden, oh boy, this is not good. This is not where I'm supposed to be. And I feel like it's my past self being like, yeah, girl, you died like this before. You got to be careful. I have no idea how I'm going to die. I hope it's maybe because I stuffed myself too much with a really delicious meal and I was too old and my body couldn't handle it. And I just died peacefully in my sleep. Yeah, I'm so glad I don't have a hunch about how I will die. I think I'm too young to be properly afraid of death yet. I know that that's something that people always talk about, and they always want to try to figure out how they feel about their death. And I think everyone reaches a certain point where they admit that that's going to happen to them, and they try to figure out how they would feel in the moment. I'm not so sure I'm afraid of it. I definitely don't want it to be painful, like drowning. Oh my gosh, maybe it started when I first watched Titanic and you see the images of like that couple just like holding on to each other, like, well, we're not going to get out. We might as well just clutch onto each other while we gasp water instead of air and drown next to each other. And that just looks like the most miserable way to die. I think that not knowing how I'm going to die lets me to continue to go on boats and lets me to continue to fly on planes, right? Like, if I knew I was going to die in a plane crash, I'd be driving all the way to my next vacation, what might be like all the way on the east coast of Canada. I don't know.
Name 3 things you and your partner need to have in common.
The first one I think is the most important: political views, especially right now. And I think I would have said this even a few years ago. Just being on the same page of what you are trying to reach when you go to vote, right? Trying to make those same decisions and sitting down and discussing it and reaching a point of agreement instead of just casting a different ballot and canceling each other's votes out. I don't know. I just feeling like you're on a team, even on that level, is huge. So luckily, Scott and I do have that in common. Mild things where, I catch him being just a stubborn old white man, even though he's a young man. he just has this like grumpy old man attitude sometimes. I think that overall, we had a Venn diagram of our political views. Most of the circles would be overlapped. That's just huge because I can't even imagine being stuck in quarantine with him in this apartment and trying to watch the news to stay updated on everything instead of just being upset at the screen, being upset with each other. And so I think finding that harmony and that balance in that is it's a huge fight saver and argument saver. Another thing is the media that we consume is something that's huge. I've dated people in the past that just listen to terrible music. That's not fun. They watch terrible TV shows. Sorry if you like The Bachelor, it's not good TV, in my opinion, right? So you're allowed to disagree with me. Scott and I disagree. We don't watch reality TV. If we do watch TV, it's just for fun, just like a fun like cartoon or like live comedy or, oh, we love documentaries. So keep learning, folks. Watch a documentary if you haven't in a while. Don't just watch one about a serial killer. That's like a cop-out. That's what everyone does. Go watch one about science and stuff or history. I'm sorry, I don't want to like talk crap on crappy TV. I feel like everyone has their guilty pleasure show or movie, and I love the unsolved mysteries or like unsealed alien case files, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's a little dated and like the production quality is not great. So cheesy and like in your face, and you just are like, oh yeah, and then what happened? It's always like shaky. They do the Dutch angles. It's like not in focus. Oh, it's at the window and she woke up to find a figure staring at her. And if I saw that, I thought it would maybe just be like a bush outside. That's so unclear. Or they do like the really extreme rapid fire, like psh, 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 pictures. It does get intense. It's fun. I like it. And so I do think that everyone has a guilty pleasure show. I just think that mine is better suited for me because I don't care about people's drama and if they find love on television. I just want to know if aliens are going to abduct me and do tests on my hair and my uterus. What do aliens do? No one knows. That's why we have these shows. The media and the music that we listen to is very similar. Obviously, we have our differences, but we love listening to good old rock and roll. And that is what keeps us together. Rock and roll keeps the world moving, I think. And I think the third thing that I would need to have in common with my partner, and that we do luckily have in common, is that we really take time to create a home. And we really value just the way everything feels, the way it looks. You can see, DJ, that there's this beautiful tree behind me. We really try to make things our own and customize it and liven it up and keep things organized and keep things clean. It's a team effort, even though he seems to be a little bit better at it. Like sometimes with the cleaning aspect, I'm better at it with the decorating aspect. It's very rewarding for us as partners.
For what in your life do you feel most grateful for?
I would not be where I am today without my family's financial support. Even paying for me to be on a hockey team, a travel hockey team growing up, paying for my jerseys and my gear and my tickets to go to Connecticut and play in a tournament, and to have that experience, to have it funded, without too much question because my parents believed in what it would give me and the experience would provide for me. I am especially grateful looking back on the financial support that I've had through college, because I know not everyone completes college because of how much of a financial burden it can be. I'll see top 5 silly clips of rich kids on TikTok. Cool, I don't have to search for them and I don't have to download this. I'll just take 1 minute to see what ridiculous things rich kids are doing. And they're like buying things they don't need and eating things they don't need to eat and driving cars that no one needs to drive. And I don't know. The big money aspect is a problem, but having enough to be comfortable and having enough to feel successful with where you want to be. Like I am a teacher now, and I don't know if I would be able to be a teacher if I didn't get that support previously. So we don't realize it, especially if you're someone like me who has had that help. I also have had a family member. My grandma conveniently was like thinking about shopping for a car, and I got in an accident. I'm fine. I didn't get too hurt, but my car didn't handle it well because it was just an old little Honda Civic, And she said, well, you know what? Why don't you just take my car? I was going to buy a new car anyway. She just gave me her car. That is a material thing, but it is worth money. I would say financial support because it saved pennies in my pocket. Yeah, little things like that. Who knows what I would have done for transportation and how that could have cut in, because that was when I was going to school and working. If I had to use the bus, would I have been able to get my homework done as well? How would my grades have been? I don't know if people realize that, yeah, that one car accident, that one major car bill, it can set back a lot of people so much. So generational poverty is in fact a thing. My dad, not to out him, he didn't even graduate high school. He got a GED, but he ended up getting a really successful job. So he was able to really turn his life around. He worked his butt off and he was very generous with all of the hard work that he had done. And so just that financial support and always having the opportunity to do these things that I want to do, enrich my life and to get where I am now has been just so amazing. And I think I need to thank those people who have helped me out along the way a little more. I think I forgot. I think I got a little comfortable. So I need to tell them how grateful I am for their support.